this, right? Literally missing people are getting
definitely.
Pornhub. So this is going to take not too much long at all. This lady, that lady was just on the screen. She's a beast. She like went all in, man, and started a movement online, which I thought was really cool. I'll put this in the description and I'll drop it in the chat. But let me just play y'all a few moments of this lady's Layla Mikowitz. She's trying to take Pornhub down. Okay. Now, what's interesting on this story is how she got involved, right? Somebody saw a missing kid on Pornhub and reached out to the family, and there was an arrest made. That's awesome until you really think about it. I've been on Pornhub. It's free. I've never seen kids on Pornhub. So what was that weirdo looking at? It's all weird. I didn't know people have. Do you know that this lady literally went and investigated this? So on Pornhub, if you start an account, you just need an email, no ID, nothing else, no age verification. You can put whatever you want on Pornhub, whatever. Now, hypothetically, and for educational purposes,
that's true. I have an account.
Yeah, we do. Remember when somebody made those accounts of Bullhorn Betty and Molly Golightly, Betty Keys, and they on Pornhub? That was really fucked up. Well, I don't know who did that.
Marissa has an escort
Why
service on Reddit,
why would some
I don't even know if you know.
An escort service where?
On Reddit.
Why would somebody do these things? Okay, guys, so let me play this from the beginning.
Making a lot of money.
This might be the biggest scandal you haven't heard about.
The largest porn website,
attracting 130 million users a day, more than Netflix or Amazon.
Pornhub is under investigation.
Parents are always welcome like that. Always.
Until one woman
Never let somebody
expose the truth.
She is the founder of the Justice Defense Fund, one of the pioneers in anti-trafficking. Lila Mikowitz.
Thank you for having me.
Wow.
I was reading the story of a missing 15-year-old girl who was found when somebody tipped off her mother that she was in 58 videos on Pornhub being raped and abused. The Sunday Times did an investigation. They found dozens of illegal videos, even children as young as 3 years old. How was this happening? I decided to test this upload system. In under 10 minutes, with only an email address, I was able to upload content that went live on the site. They weren't asking for an ID. They weren't asking for a consent form to make sure that this wasn't a rape or trafficking victim. The site became infested with videos of real sexual crime. I have to sound the alarm on this. I was posting on Twitter, started a petition.
We're just about to hit 1 million.
2 million signatures.
Hundreds of organizations participating. Media started to pay attention.
In your article, you write, with Pornhub, we have Jeffrey Epstein times 1,000.
This isn't about porn. This is about
he's banned off the internet.
Children.
The 12-year-old boy, he was drugged, overpowered, and raped in 23 videos being sold on Pornhub.
Victims were speaking out left and right.
This is going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
Whistleblowers were saying this is true.
Pornhub put profits over people.
Even the former owner of Pornhub reached out saying he wanted to help. Dozens of lawsuits were filed. We went after Visa and MasterCard to cut ties, but they were still resistant. Pornhub started attacking myself, victims. They don't want to stop because they're making a lot of money. And they fight dirty. Pornhub was so scared, they deleted 80% of their site. 10 million videos gone. Victims, they were so happy and relieved because for the first time in years, their rape videos were off of Pornhub. But the fight's not over.
So I'm going to put this in the description box. I'll drop it in the chat now. So this lady single-handedly went up against Pornhub, man. And you see the story. What I'm going to play now is a minute or two, not much longer than that, of how she got into this fight with the missing person case out of Florida and how they caught the dude. I'll probably do a follow-up video on this. This is like really wild. Anybody ever hear about this before? Anybody ever hear about this? 1 in the chat if you've heard this before. 2 if this is new to you. And there's always going to be like one person that hits the one, and they have no clue this is out there. They just like want to be like sound smart. Come on, it happens in every chat. But I'm not saying you can't hit one. So I'm going to do a private video on this because it's a serious subject and stuff. But notice a lot of the things she said. There was a missing child, a missing girl, and she was, that she had to go through a grape situation. Okay. Also, through her activism, grape victims who have, randomly done too much dope at a college party, and some guy was recording it, had made a video, posted it, and it's been up there for years. Now they have a voice. They have somebody to help them, right? All these stories, right? It's pretty wild. But the point is, I'm not one to talk about like grape and stuff a lot like that. It's very tough for a man to do it on this platform. But TM throws and aligns a carrot with that for some odd reason. Now, what did not happen is any of these people say, hey, I banged myself with a carrot and sent it to a skis ball. Could you please erase it for me? So she didn't get any of those requests, but real victims, yes, absolutely. Let me just play this really fast. I want you to hear the base story of how this woman started this movement. And I like this type of stuff. This person literally got millions of people to sign a petition, and she helped families and victims. You got to respect it, man. So let's just hear a minute or two of this.
All consensual, could really all be consensual. Can you talk about how you began to look into that and also what you found?
Yes, definitely. So at the end of 2019 was when some headlines really began to catch my attention. Particularly, there was the story about a 15-year-old girl from Florida, Broward County, Florida, who was missing for an entire year. And she was finally found when her mother was tipped off by a Pornhub user that he had recognized her daughter on Pornhub. And she found her missing daughter in 58 videos being raped and abused for profit. These were downloadable, monetized videos, not only monetized with ads, but monetized by pay to download. Pornhub earning 35% of the profit from each of the sale of that girl's abuse. And they were able to actually match her abuser's face with surveillance footage from a 7-Eleven and locate the girl at his apartment and rescue her and intervene. And I was thinking, and that story was kind of haunting me towards the end of 2019, right at the beginning of 2020. I kept thinking about that story. There was also a really important investigation that came out at the end of 2019 by the London Sunday Times. And they found dozens of illegal videos within minutes, even children as young as 3. And so these were in the back of my mind. And I was up late one night, rocking my very sad, upset 3-month-old baby and thinking about that story of that 15-year-old girl. And a question came to mind. The question was, how did that happen? Because Pornhub has presented itself to the world using millions and millions of marketing dollars as this mainstream, legit porn brand that only has quote unquote consenting adults on this site. Yet we had these news stories coming out. And so, one of those wise words that my dad always used to say was, assumption is the mother of all screw ups. And I thought, we're all assuming that this is legal and consensual content. How do we know? So I just said, I'm going to test the upload system. I'm going to see what it actually takes. So I put the baby to bed and I got on my computer and laptop, recorded some video footage of the room and uploaded it to Pornhub and discovered what millions of people actually already knew, because at that point they had 6.8 million videos being uploaded every year, not to mention all the images. So millions of people had already done this, right? But tested that upload system and found out that all it took was an email address to upload homemade sex videos onto this site. And there was no proof of age, no ID, no consent form, right? And that's when I realized it was like that aha moment. It was like this inciting incident that this site is infested with videos of real sexual crime. And that's kind of where the story began, was unexpectedly. Honestly, it was not something that was planned. It wasn't something where we're like,
all right, guys, I dropped the link in the live chat. I know a lot of you are interested in it. I'll probably do a separate video on this, and it will be in my description box. Okay. That's wild, man. I never knew that either. She tells us how it happened. She tells that Florida story, but there's a lot more missing people there. You know, if all it requires is just an email, how many of us have troll accounts? Like, you know, it's interesting because you think about trafficking, and that's such a big word, and it could mean a lot of things. I never knew that somebody would be so like ballsy to literally, you know, put victims on camera and then do heinous things to them and upload it. But listen, Pornhub it's free porn. You know, we've all been there, and it's got a lot of traffic. But it's just crazy. It makes you think how many really are there. And listen, on this interview, it gets deeper with the analytics. And she like busted Pornhub because they said they had like X amount of moderators that are like that watch what's uploaded, and analytically, like it would take you like 9,800 years, which nobody lives to watch every video on Pornhub. So she was able to like calculate that they're lying, and that's all shenanigans. They have the same thing that YouTube and Facebook does. It's all bots.